Welcome to the Startup Help Desk. We are your source for answers to questions about building companies, starting companies, and the meaning of life. We have a panel here of experienced founders, investors, and entrepreneurs, and we're going to share our experience with you and answer questions submitted by founders just like yourselves. My name is Sean Burns. I was a founder for about 20 years until I switched sides, and I'm on the investing side. And I'm joined, as always, by Nick and Ash.
Hi, everyone. My name's Ash Rust. I'm a startup investor based in San Francisco. I mostly invest in companies based in the US and Europe at the idea stage through my fund, Sterling Road. I've also worked at places like Trinity Ventures and Bullpen Capital as an advisor. Before investing, I was an entrepreneur myself, most notably an early employee at the social media analytics company Clout, as well as the co-founder and CEO of SendUp. These days, I spend most of my time coaching founders and have helped more than 1,500 startups over the years.
Hey, this is Nick Melionis. I am a fellow startup founder. I have built venture-backed startups. I've bootstrapped startups. I've sold companies. I've shut down companies. And I've had a chance to support quite a few startups along the way. One of my favorite things is getting a chance to jam on questions during the Startup Help Desk. So count me in.
And Nick is now an author of a new Substack. Nick, pitch your Substack. What's it called?
Oh, that is too good. This is Pancakes for Protagonists. It is melionis.substack.com. This is an AI playbook for problem solving. And so take a peek and you'll have some fun out there.
And we will put it in the show notes because I'm sure everybody can spell Melionis for the first time. There's no doubt
exactly
about that.
Yes. Yeah.
I think most people will struggle on the pancakes part.
Well, we've been subliminally messaging the pancakes throughout our podcast here, so we knew it was coming.
That's right. And so, as always, we are here to answer questions that were submitted by founders just like you. So if you have a question we would love to answer in a future episode, go head over to thestartuphelpdesk.com or find us on X/Twitter at thestartuphd. We would love to answer your questions. Today, all the questions that were submitted, we rolled up around promotions, about how do you reward those employees that are ready to take the next step in their career, to contribute at a higher layer. I was just joking with the guys. We've actually had a few episodes about layoffs and firing people. We've actually never covered the positive part of employees when they're ready to move up. And we'll talk about that today because it turns out it's not always as easy as it sounds. Promotions can be strife with all sorts of other issues, but we will dive in and tackle those today. And let's get started. First question, guys. We have a great engineer who wants to become a manager. I don't think they will be good at it or enjoy it, but we don't want to lose them. What can I do? This is not a question I submitted, but I have been this person with this question many times in my career. Ash, what do you think, man?
That you mean you being a terrible manager?
Yeah, well, no, that's a granted. What do you think about this question?
Right, sorry. I was just agreeing with you for a second, so I wanted to highlight that. So I think the first thing you can do if you want to test whether or not someone is really willing to be a manager is send them on a management training course, because that is one of the most boring 5-day experiences you can ever have as an adult. And that is going to, show them that maybe spending all their time reading reports and managing emotions isn't what they want to do. Maybe they want more ownership or more control or something else. Another thing you can ask them to do is maybe a 50-50 split of individual contributions, as well as spending more time perhaps testing out managing people. But the other thing, the root of this question that I want to just push on a little bit is sort of examining your own internal biases. Yes, you want the situation to continue where you've got a great engineer producing wonderful outputs. But, your job is also to kind of help them on their career. And if you ask them some questions about what they really want long term, you may find that you can get a lot more of what you want, actually, versus perhaps being resistant to this potential managerial role. So give yourself the opportunity to also, perhaps see this positively rather than negatively, as well as testing the desire.
These management training courses, I'm imagining in like a stuffy hotel conference room with those really uncomfortable chairs and somebody just droning.
7 a.m. start is very important as well.
Oh, man. Have either of you guys ever done one of those? I've never done.
Oh, yes, I have.
Oh, interesting.
I can even remember the suit I wore because you get to spend a lot of time in it. And yeah, they're horrific. They're truly horrific. Someone is probably, running through the same yellowing slides that they've been using for the last 27 years. But, they wrote a book in 1978 that a lot of people respect. And so now they're still making quite a bit of money on speaking events, and you're their audience. It's a really miserable experience. But, you do learn a lot about managing people, and, how you get people to do things like get through all the sexual harassment training, and how you run one-on-ones when someone doesn't want to do a one-on-one with you, and how you resolve conflict by using a third party, and all the parts of being a manager that nobody actually wants. It's going to run you through all those so you don't make those into, real dumpster fires the first time, as many managers do.
Fair enough. Well, Nick, do you have anything else for us? Ash says to torture your employees to see how serious they are about this.
Thank you so much, Sean. Please make sure that's quoted in the public as well.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty enthusiastic thumbs up for the management training course. And so I will doubly endorse that. I think another piece for this is that people often view promotions as rewards for past work. Instead, you want them to be bets about future performance. And so if you've got this great team member that ultimately wants to pursue this managerial role, it's awesome. It's a really good sign. At the same time, your bet as the founder, CEO in the startup is that ultimately you're going to have to make the hard decisions, and you need to shape the vision based off of course, the training you've gone through, but also your instincts in a lot of ways too. And so I would say, don't promote someone into a role that you think that they will inevitably fail at. Instead, try to reframe this experience in some way. Ash mentioned a great pathway around training, and that can help you be able to find some great pathways forward. I think a second piece of this is, how do you make being an individual contributor feel just as cool as being the boss? That seems to be a completely untapped channel here when it comes to career advancement. And truthfully, as a founder, if you can tap into that, that's something that can allow you to build talent, promote folks into managers, as well as promote folks into the next iteration of IC. So I would say think creatively around that.
I'm imagining Nick talking to an employee saying, congratulations, or promoting you to a team lead. And the person's like, great, who's on my team? Like, nobody's on your team. You have a team of just yourself, but we're sure you're going to do a great job running it.
That's
this
what we're
is
hiring.
Team Melionas.
You're hiring your fleet of AI, and you're going to absolutely love it.
Yeah,
Trust me.
exactly. We're going to give you some tokens. Here you go.
All joking aside, though, Nick, I want to underline it because I have many times in my career had great individual contributors who said they wanted to become managers because they had been trained to think that having a team is how you move forward in your career. And if they didn't see any other path, they think they have to become a team lead, even if they don't want that, because that's how you move forward. If you can show them another path, either by showing other people ICs becoming the equivalent of VPs, which I've done and works well, just show them a path, and then they realize, actually, I don't like managing people. I'd rather that path. But if they don't have that other path, they think the only path forward is to manage a team, and they get miserable, and everybody gets miserable, and nobody wins. So
that's exactly it. Managing people is a different job. And so ultimately, you want to make sure that you can be able to architect great jobs for people that are solving real problems for the company, not creatively forcing people into roles they're not a fit for.
Fair enough. Cool. What else is on our question queue for today?
All right, let's see this. This question came from a founder. They said, one of our earliest employees is great, but is quickly being left behind as the business grows. They haven't been able to do more or learn fast enough, so the role is shrinking as the company grows. I would hate to lose them. How can I help? Sean?
Okay, First of all, hang on. No. This is not a question about promotions. You lied, Sean, at the beginning. You know exactly what I'm going to say here, and then you're teeing it up so you can say, look, Ash is mean again. I'm just for those listening out there, I have a good heart, okay?
I mean, everybody's learning why they'll learn about why your nickname is Chainsaw Rust, so... We'll get to that later.
This is just slander, flagrant.
I'll start off. This has happened to me a few times in my career. Obviously, I've been lucky that a lot of my companies have grown quite quickly at certain points, and inevitably people get left behind because they are good at the job they have, and that job doesn't exist 6 months later because the company has grown up around them and they have trouble adjusting. The best thing you can do first is before this happens, have really honest conversations with everybody in your team and essentially tell them, listen, the job you have won't exist. We would like you to be the first choice for the next job that will be created, but it's up to you to show us. And this is, let's talk about what you want and what you want to do and what you need to prove to us to keep doing that in the future. So the best thing you do proactively is have that conversation a lot and then sit down with these employees that are not scaling, and maybe coaching would help. Sending them to some of these management training sessions that Ash talked about might help. I mean, you can try to invest in them, and I always think that's a good place to start. But let's be honest, there are often people who are going to scale with the company are already trying to train themselves. They're trying to learn new skills. They're taking initiative. If you have to take the initiative for them to help them grow with the company, which is a form of promotion, Ash, I brought it back around, it's probably not going to work. You can only pull somebody forward so far. But Ash, lay it on us, Chainsaw. What's the actual answer?
Yes, the answer is, as everybody who's listening to your political answer knows, is you have to fire this person in 90% of cases. You should probably let them go right away because the probability is so high. But given that you have understandable loyalty to them, I would expect you to give them a chance to find their place and maybe be an excellent contributor. But as Sean said, if they're not scaling themselves, and they're not likely to, climb the next mountain after this one. And so it very rarely works out. And, honestly, the best thing you can do is help them find their next role. That's my honest feedback. Call it a chainsaw if you want, but I think the sooner they get to find something new and then they can be the, early stage specialist is actually, a big opportunity for them rather than being miserable and, iced out at your company.
Yeah, I think that's true. Guys, question for you. Often I have noticed that the people who are not scaling are the last ones to realize it, that they don't typically realize that they're not scaling, that they're holding everybody back. Especially if they used to be like the core of the team and really
I don't know if I agree with it. I think they feel that way on the work side, but actually on an interpersonal side, I think they start to feel that pinch quite early because they get bullied.
Well, so how do you recommend having that conversation with them? Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that we have a person who doesn't realize that they're not scaling. They don't see it, that they're falling behind. How does that conversation go? Like, how do you have that conversation with them? Because essentially what you're telling them is you're popping this bubble where they thought they were good at what they were doing. They helped build this company, but you're like, listen, we built the company in spite of you, not because of you.
Well, the pattern that's worked, and I would say quote unquote worked, people usually react pretty negatively to this, but oftentimes you're not the trigger. Oftentimes it's people underneath this person who are like, hey, I'm going to leave if you don't get rid of this clown that's in our way. Honestly, that's what I see over and over again. And so you end up in this catch-22 where you're forced to go to the problematic individual and let them know that, their team is kind of rebelling against them as a result of their underperformance. And it's time for them to let go of, some or all of it and potentially move on.
That is word for word, by the way, a conversation Ash has had with me a number of times about the podcast and my performance. So just in case you're wondering.
It's like I said, this is, at least we have one episode where you put all the slander in one place. So that way the lawyers won't have any trouble finding it.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, let's move on to a different question. Ash didn't like that one. Ash, you
yeah.
do the next question.
Let's talk about promotions. Let's see if we got another one about firing people labeled as promotions. Here we go. Okay, I have two great salespeople that both want to become sales directors. We have one opening for a sales director, so we can promote one of them, but at the risk of losing the other. What should I do?
This is good stuff. I'll give a quick take, and then Sean, I'll kick it to you. You don't always want to promote your best AE to sales director. A great AE is a closer. A great sales director is a scaler. And so as a scaler, that means that they've got a more diverse set of responsibilities, which also includes coaching, building process, and ultimately designing the ship. And so just keep that in mind because you need to hire the scaler to be your sales director. Express your desire to retain both of these individuals. You should tell them both independently that you want to keep them. Let them know, though, that you can only pick one, and really have a conversation and say, if it's not you, what does it take for us to make sure that we can still keep you as part of the team so you can keep scaling and expanding with the business as we go? And then put together a transparent process and ultimately do your best to make the right choice, not the one that feels like you're accommodating both folks, but the one that is putting the scaler into this director role. It's not easy. You might lose one, but you have to make sure that you are making principled decisions here.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're saying pay the loser.
Well, let me reflect on that one while Sean fires away, and then perhaps
I was gonna agree, but I was actually gonna underline it even harder, which is if you start making decisions because you're afraid of people leaving, you're essentially letting the team run the company. Like, you just can't operate that way. We can never be so afraid of somebody leaving that we're going to make a different decision. And so, sure, one of them might leave. That makes sense. You're still going to promote the person you think will do the job best, and you're going to promote somebody to being the sales director. And if the other person leaves, that's unfortunate, but we deal with it. I mean, it happens across the board with everything from engineers to salespeople. It's part of the process. I will say that I want to go tie it back to what we talked about in the first question, though, which is often, in my experience, the number of AEs that turn into good sales leaders is very low percentage, because salespeople are good at what they do for a reason, and running teams is a very different skill set. If the only way that they perceive going forward in their career is to become a leader, then that's obviously what they'll like. And most salespeople would love to run a sales team of salespeople so they don't have to cold call and close deals. But if there is another path forward, that might be something that they would prefer other than becoming a sales director. And so make sure there's always other paths. And it's not like this is the only way forward, so I'm going to elbow and jockey my way into this position. If there's more options, then maybe somebody will take them. But yeah, it's tough. By the way, if you do find an AE that is a good sales director, never let them go, because that's amazing. That just doesn't happen very often.
One quick note: a lot of our portfolio companies that are growing fast, the way they keep salespeople as salespeople is no cap on commission.
So why would you ever have a cap on commission? Why would?
Some people, do it because they want to kind of limit, because oftentimes good salespeople break your current commission structure, right? And that's fairly consistent. Like, quarter by quarter, as you grow, your best salespeople will kind of expose the weakness in the commission system. And so people use caps as a way of controlling that to some extent.
Wait. This is confusing to me. Like, you're paying a salesperson some percentage of sales. And so let's say it's 10%. And then if they hit their quota, maybe they get accelerators and they get more of it. But by definition, if they keep selling, you're making more money. Like, why would you ever want them to stop?
Well, it tends to be like, the size of the contract is associated with the commission, but that size of a contract as you grow and scale tends to be over longer periods of time, right? And may have variable amounts. So that's where where there's potential for a gray area, at least.
Huh, that's fascinating. Because I've never limited commissions. I've always been like, hey, if you can sell $15 million, let's go. I mean,
and that's why you have a podcast, Sean. So you can
I do this podcast out of my car. It's life has been rough. All those salespeople taking all my money.
Well, that's because we can fit the audience in the back seat.
Oh man. Okay, we're quickly running out of material and time here. Guys, any final thoughts on promotions? Any funny stories about promoting people on your teams?
This wasn't a promotions podcast for the last time.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Well, that's what we have for you for promotions. Hopefully it was helpful. If you could promote people in your team, let us know how it goes. Again, all the questions on the Startup Help Desk are submitted by people like you. We would love to feature your questions in a future episode. Head over to thestartuphelpdesk.com to submit them, and maybe you will get your question answered in a future episode, or at least, joked about and laughed about as best we can. As always, Ash and Nick, thank you for bestowing knowledge about promotions on us.
Hey, thank you both.
Absolute lies. Good evening, everybody.
Ash is going to drive that point home.
I'm so angry. Yes.
Okay, for now, the Startup Help Desk is closed. We will return. In the meantime, good luck in building your business.